like the stream by tapping the screen. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. It'll help get it out to more people. Not on YouTube, only on TikTok. TikTok won't recommend me for like a few more minutes. But yeah, all right. So you asked what was my position on immigration. So my position on immigration is that anyone who's in the country undocumented who has not committed a violent crime or bad crime should be given a pathway to citizenship, where they do not have to leave the country. I think that's the best way to ensure that everyone in the country is vetted, right? And we also have to couple that with a quicker immigration process to incentivize people to go through the legal immigration system, right? So all the money that they're putting into militarizing ICE, let's take that money, let's also abolish ICE, and let's put that money into making the legal immigration process go significantly quicker, right? And have the vetting process go significantly quicker, right? And that
I
will overall
totally
create a
agree
better
with the
system.
process going quicker.
Yeah, and it will
Totally
allow
agree.
for law enforcement to focus on deporting people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, and focus on the people who are actually a threat to our communities, rather than focusing on the people who are, have been here for 20 years, are, how working and just like trying to support their families and their communities.
Right. No, I can totally understand and appreciate that. I do want you to answer my first question, though. Do you think that present day, like, say you're president right now, are you going to secure the borders today?
Well, I think the way to quote unquote secure the border is the process that I just said myself. That's the process in which I would quote unquote secure the border.
Respectfully, I disagree because there's still going to be people from other countries that still want to come in
That's
after
great.
today.
That's great. I want people to immigrate
Oh,
here.
so you mean that anyone can come over, but see, I disagree there because
I never said
it's like you're
anyone. I
waiting
said
for
if they
them
have.
to
I
commit a
said any.
crime.
I said people who have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, and it's up to a certain level. Like I'm okay with 1 to 3% population growth, right, per year. And it is the case that we see actually due to the Congressional Budget Office that they estimate we're going to have a reducing size of our population by 2050. So in the next 25 years.
Trust me, I am 1 trillion% for people coming into the country. I have zero issue with that. Never have. I think that's great for America. I think it's great that people love our country so much that they want to come here and work here and be a part of our community and contribute to America overall. However, I do think that there should be a process. And like you, this is where I think people start to argue because the process takes so long. Because the right siders will say, well, just do it legally and we don't care. And then the leftists say, do you know how long it takes? And people are trying to escape things like persecution, financial issues. They're seeking financial asylum, things like that. I totally agree that one of the first things that needs to be done in this country is that we need to expedite the process. We need to hire people. Because I actually was debating with someone earlier, and I told them that that's where the gray area comes in, and that there's so many people in America that need jobs. Why don't we make that a job? Hiring more people to make this process go quicker, so they're not waiting all
That's
this time.
exactly what the bipartisan border bill wanted to do, but Donald Trump called for people in Congress to undermine that bill. So
I'll
Donald Trump is
definitely
actively
have to look into that. Do you have a website you could refer me to for that?
Yeah. I mean, this was vastly reported on. I can give you a specific website if you'd like, but you could also find it just by looking up Donald Trump undermines bipartisan border bill. Damn, I keep getting this visibility restriction.
But I think, see, I don't, this is where I disagree. I don't think we should just let anyone come in. I understand what you're saying with if someone's never committed a crime, but I still think there should be a process because there's situations where people can slip through the cracks and maybe certain crimes that they've committed wouldn't be caught. It's like, how would you go about that? And I know you're going to say like a background check and everything like
Yeah,
that,
background
but
check would be the best way to ensure that they're on no different status as anyone else. But there's issues with finding out people have committed crimes if they're in the country and they're a citizen. So, and also undocumented immigrants are multiple times less likely to commit violent crime, drug crime, and property crime in the United States comparative to natural-born U.S. citizens. I mean, why would they be committing those types of crimes? Wouldn't they like not want to get caught?
no, I totally agree with that. I'm saying, do you agree that we should deport anyone that has come into this country and is not contributing, the first thing, and has committed a crime, like is a criminal?
If you've committed a violent crime or a crime that's so bad that someone should be
Violent crime.
deported. No, this
Yes.
like
No.
not just
See,
any
I
crime.
agree with
Like
that. I'm not talking about like
yeah, like just
parking
coming to the
tickets.
country. Coming to the country is a misdemeanor, undocumented. I don't think that's a crime that's so bad insofar as that someone should be deported. But yes, if someone has committed a violent crime or has committed a crime that's so bad that they should be deported, of course, I have no issue with them being deported on the condition that they'll be put in a prison in another country because we don't want them, free in another country either committing crime.
No, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think the middle ground would kind of be like, for me, well,
But that sounds like more of like a
I
Democratic
can.
position. Democrats want to deport people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, and they just want the legal immigration process to go significantly quicker. Donald Trump's trying
Are
to
you
undermine the legal immigration process, right? Alongside, he's specifically trying to engage in the use of less due process.
are you familiar with Nick Shirley?
Yes.
Have you ever watched any of his like YouTube live streams?
No, never. I've only just seen the name because I've seen some of his dumbass TikToks.
I just, from what I've seen on his side of things, because I'm not the type of person, just because I side more with the right doesn't mean that I can't agree with some left wing things, right? So in some of these videos, these people are saying, no, let everyone stay. And these are obviously Democrats at these No Kings protests.
So here's what he's doing.
So
He's
I
going.
wouldn't say that every Democrat is saying, oh, we all want the criminals out, because they're not.
Yeah, most Democrats are saying that they want violent criminals out of the country. Now he's specifically trying to find people that say otherwise, and he's specifically picking those clips to post.
I think everybody
Like
does
you can
that. Do
say
you
that's
not?
true that some people have those positions, but you can't say it's true that most people have those positions
Why are you able to say that then?
because
Because
I
you would have, in
one I've
order for
looked
that to
one I've
be
looked
true,
at the
you would have to
polls.
talk to every single
One, I've
one of
looked at the
them.
polls. Two, I'm very familiar with my own party and especially what other creators view in the space. Right? No one
Mhm.
has this view that like violent criminals shouldn't be deported. Practically no one I've ever talked to. I think that's a very fringe perspective to say that violent criminals shouldn't be deported. And
Mhm.
I would put pushback on that issue on that a lot because obviously we don't want violent criminals running rampant in our country. If we knew that someone was held civilly liable of a sexual crime, or if they were convicted of a sexual crime, like they sexually assaulted someone, obviously we don't want them in our country. Obviously we'd want them in
Right, right.
prison.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Why don't you believe that we should have a process for the border for people to come over, like I said earlier, like present day, you're president right now. Why don't you think that we should have laws and a process for people to come
I do
in?
think we should have laws and a process. I just want to incentivize people to go through the said legal process by making it quicker and actually make
So
sense.
you think we should have a border and like
Yeah,
there
yeah,
should be
yeah.
ICE?
Wait, ICE is not necessary to have like border enforcement. ICE is on top of the border enforcement we already had.
Okay. But they also work to remove the people that come over illegally.
They could try to do that, but I mean, I think that oftentimes one, they're unnecessary, and two, we're putting too much money specifically into that rather than putting it into like actually like making the legal immigration process go quicker, which would incentivize people not to go through the process and document it, and instead go through the process legally.
So who is going to do the job of removing these people?
You mean we already have border patrol?
I'm talking about those people specifically work the border, correct?
Yeah, that would be people who work the border.
So what about the
I would
people
be
that
I
have
would be
brought
fine.
in?
I'd be fine with a group, not ICE, but a group specifically designated by the federal government, specifically to deport people who have committed violent
That
crimes
is
and
ICE.
bad crimes. But that is not what I think ICE is fulfilling right now. I think ICE oftentimes like wears masks, doesn't utilize warrants, is violating people's constitutional rights. They're essentially acting as a
Can
as
you
they're
can I
essentially acting
interrupt
as
you
a
real
secret
quick?
police force for the federal government and the executive branch rather than actually enforcing the immigration laws in terms of violent offenders.
So let me ask you your personal opinion on this. And don't be afraid at your chat coming at you.
I'm not.
If you feared for your life and your children's lives that just for your political opinion, or not even your political opinion, because I don't think that every single ICE agent Believe it or not, I don't think that every single one on this planet, every single one in America, rather, is Republican. I don't think that. I think some people, maybe they don't want to do it and it's their job. And they're scared that these people, Antifa particularly, are going to come after their family. I don't understand why that's funny.
What does Antifa mean? Antifa just is anyone who's anti-fascist.
Anti-fascist.
Yeah, yeah. That are you
I
anti-fascist?
think Antifa
Are you
is
Antifa?
fascist, if anything.
Are you Antifa?
I'm definitely Antifa, but I'm talking about the
Okay.
organization in particular.
There is no organization of Antifa.
Okay, the group of Antifa
There is no
activists.
group. It's literally
There
just an
is.
ideology.
Yes, and they form groups. Do they
What?
not?
That's like saying, okay, so technically anyone who's an anti-fascist, right, being in a group would technically
Hmm.
be Antifa then.
Would you say
So
that MAGA is a group?
MAGA is a group. Would you
So
say that
I
they're
would say
Antifa? Would
Antifa
you
is a
say
group.
MAGA is Antifa?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so then
I'm definitely Antifa.
so
I'm
so if MAGA is
I'm just
Antifa, wait,
not.
no, hold up. If MAGA is Antifa, then are they a designated terrorist group by the United States of America under the Trump administration?
But we both know what I'm talking about here. I understand
Well,
that
yeah,
you're
you
saying
said
it's an
any group that
ideology.
is
I'm talking about
Antifa.
the people that are going and they're attacking ICE. They're throwing rocks at them. They're breaking
So just
shit.
people who are
I mean,
attacking
stuff throughout
ICE.
the community.
So people who are so I don't know why we're
Parker, you
branding
know
this as
what I'm
just
talking. You know
no
what and who
no
I'm
no no no
talking about.
no. I think it's dishonest to try to brand that as Antifa, right? Because anyone who's anti-fascist should not be associated with that. If you want to talk about specifically people who like have particular ideological beliefs that are enacting violence, you can talk about that. But don't brand that as just people who are like a part of a group that just means
That's what they've
anti-fascist.
called themselves, though, have they
No,
not?
who?
These groups. You cannot tell
What
me you
groups?
haven't
What
seen these
groups?
groups of people that congregate and they call themselves Antifa.
Wait, that's like me joking and saying I'm a part of Antifa on the live. I'm sorry, no group exists like about that. I've never seen this before. Genuinely, what group are you talking about?
As much as it may pain you,
Should
go
we
watch
form?
one
Should
of
we
Nick
form the?
Shirley's
You know
lives.
what? You know what? I'm totally down to form the group of Antifa. Let's do it.
Listen, I
Like,
am
would you join?
I'm completely anti-fascist, but I think some of the things that they
So
do are very
my group
fascist,
of
like
Antifa
restricting my
is
First Amendment
my
right
group
of
of
freedom of
Antifa.
speech.
My group of Antifa. If you'd like to join it, do you think that they should be designated as domestic terrorists?
You know what I'm talking about. You
I
can't play
actually
the dumb card with me, Parker.
okay. I think it's dishonest for you to act like if I don't believe the same thing as you, that I'm being dishonest. I think that's really, really fucking like dishonest, genuinely.
I think it's really dishonest that you are pretending that you don't know that there's these group of people, far wing leftists, that label themselves as Antifa. You
I label
know what I'm
myself as
talking about.
Antifa.
But I'm not talking about the term in and of itself. I'm not just talking about
There is
anti-fascist.
I don't know what group there is. Like I have never seen this group that you're
Look
talking
them
about.
up. Look them
I
up on your
have. I've
phone.
trust me, I have looked this up.
Well, I wouldn't just make this up, believe it or not. I have seen this in a bunch, not even just Nick Shirley. They're 1 trillion% is a group of people that go to these No Kings protests. They cover their face and pretty much every single part of their body. I don't want to
The
divert
No
from this,
Kings
but
protest was like literally completely peaceful.
I'm totally for peaceful protest. I'm talking about the people that are attacking federal agents and throwing rocks and looting
Okay,
stores and burning
so yeah,
stuff.
we obviously disagree with that. No one's saying that they agree with that. Like, okay, so I'm confused. Can you name one Democratic congressperson that has agreed with rioting and looting?
No, I don't think anyone would agree with that.
Can you name a single person? Can you name a single Democratic like
I just
content
told you I couldn't.
name a
But
single
I don't.
Democratic content creator that has condoned the rioting and looting?
I don't follow these people on TikTok. They're not
So
someone
there
or
is no
any
one.
social
Now
media platform. I would not.
I
There
can
are
give you on
people.
your
There
side the
are.
president of the United States of America pardoned violent rioters on January 6th who beat police officers, and he
I
called
don't
them
agree with that.
patriots. Okay,
I
so
don't agree
if
that
you
people
can't
that
mention,
riot.
let me clarify. Let me clarify. You can't mention a single person on the left that meets the set of criteria, but we can give you explicit
I
circumstances
don't know their
of
names,
people at the
Parker.
very top of the right, the president of the United States of America, supporting and
Did I
condoning
say I agreed
violence.
with everything he said? I when I first came onto this live, what did I tell you? I said I don't support everything Donald Trump has done.
No, but I think it's dishonest for people to try and claim that there's this group of Antifa that should be considered domestic terrorists. When one, it's not a group; it's just an ideology, right? And thirdly, right, they never apply this to their own side. They never apply this to MAGA. All
What
the
would you
people that
call
are
them
sitting
then?
there and defending the violence on January 6th.
Okay, back to what I was saying. I don't condone looting,
Why don't we
breaking stuff,
designate the
acting like a
KKK as a
crazy
domestic
animal.
terrorist organization?
Repeat that.
Why don't we designate the KKK as a domestic terrorist organization, the Proud Boys as a domestic
I'm
terrorist
totally for it.
organization?
Totally for it.
Okay, so why doesn't the Trump administration do that? Why does he designate Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization when there's not even a group, but he's not designating any of those other organizations that are literally
What is a
terrorist
group,
groups?
Parker? What's a group in your definition?
A group would just be a few people or like a
Okay,
catalog
well
of
then
people.
you have to if that's true, then these few people, but it's not a few, it's thousands upon thousands of
Yeah,
people
that's why I said a
that are
catalog of
doing
people.
this. Yes, correct. That's what they're doing though. You don't think that should be labeled as domestic terrorism? I'm not saying it's right that he hasn't labeled
No.
anyone else.
Antifa should not be designated as a terrorist organization. One, because it's not an organization, and two, it's
So
just an
what do we call
ideology.
these people then? What would you like to call them?
You could just say that, like, specifically if someone's rioting, you say that they're rioters. They're not an organized group. You just say that they're rioters.
So,
Appreciate
but
that message.
I'm saying that this is what they're calling themselves, and it's a slippery slope because that's a term that everybody should be anti-fascist. Hello, no, nobody wants fascism. I mean, I don't know anybody personally that does.
I mean, a lot of Trump supporters have defended it.
I don't defend fascism in any
Well,
form.
you vote for it.
I vote for it because I think abortion is murder and
Okay,
it's disgusting.
so because you think abortion is murder, that means you'd vote for fascism?
I don't think that necessarily that Donald Trump is committing fascism. Where is he committing fascism?
Well, we can go through the 14 points of fascism if you'd like. Would you like to do that?
I'm totally down for that.
Yeah, so for the first one is powerful and continuing nationalism. By the way, I just want to clarify. If he meets one of these, that doesn't necessarily mean he is a fascist. It's that he fits most of them that would make him a fascist. So I just want to clarify. You could meet one of these and not be a fascist. Like, for example, this first one I think is applicable to a lot of people. Or and in the United States already in general. Number one is powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and public displays. Number two is a disdain for the recognition of human rights. The reason why I say this is because, one, he's engaged in extrajudicial, without due process murdering of people on fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela with absolutely no due process, which is an international war crime with not,
So
not
this is
within our
where
jurisdiction.
I hate to do this and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this is where I have to interrupt you because I've heard a lot in those lives. Here I go again with the Nick Shirley lives. But I've heard a lot of people talking about the due process. Could you explain to me, from your perspective, what is happening and why it's wrong with these people not getting due process? Because in my opinion, you should be an American citizen to get due process. You know what I mean? Because that's under America's amendments.
Yeah, in the Constitution, it says everyone within the jurisdiction of the country is granted due process rights. So if you care about the Constitution ingrains it as a right for everyone within the country, not just people who are citizens. Do you think lawful permanent residents should receive due process?
Yes.
Okay. So that's an example, one. Secondly, as it relates
But
to
I
this, if
mean,
you want, if you,
I'll
secondly,
even go
second,
a step further. If that's what it says in the Constitution, that everyone in the jurisdiction of America is supposed to receive due process,
yes,
and that's what it meant is just bodies in America, and we're not taking it out of context. If that's what it really says, and that's what it means, then I agree that they should get due process.
okay,
That's our
so
Constitution.
that's what the Constitution says. One, two, as it relates to this, I do also want to acknowledge that in order for us to be able to determine that they're in the country undocumented, we would have to utilize due process to do so. Because when they specifically commit a crime, the way that we determine that they've committed that crime is through due process. Otherwise, you could just claim anyone's in the country undocumented, and you could just deport whoever you feel like. I could claim all my political dissidents are in the country undocumented, and I could deport all of them. That's ridiculous, right? So obviously, we have to utilize the process, due process, in order to ensure that we are deporting the correct people, right?
Well, is them answer me this and what your stance is on this. If is them not being able to provide themselves documentation, is that criminating enough? Or is that not,
Repeat what you
in
just
your
said.
opinion? If they do not have their papers, their documentation with them, and they cannot provide it, is that not criminalizing? I don't know if that's a word enough.
No, no. I mean, if they don't have identifying papers, that wouldn't. We would just have to go through extra processes of vetting in order to be able to identify that.
Okay.
So like that wouldn't be like something I would deport someone over. They would just go through a further process to identify who they are.
And to make sure whether they came here legally or not.
Well, I mean, again, whether or not you came here legally is not an issue to me.
No,
It's like
I'm just
like would we, if they're going through the legal process, restrict them from coming to the country? Because the goal of our immigration process is to ensure the safety, security of the country, the economic stability of our country, things like that. You know, the country as a whole is doing well, right? So like
yeah.
if it is the case that they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, they're not a threat to our country. There's no reason for us to restrict them. If anything, they're actually a real huge benefit to our country because we need a lot of more younger people who are funding our systems to be able to ensure that we have the same level of benefits for Social Security and Medicare in the long run. Otherwise, those particular types of programs are going to not have as much funding, and we're going to have to reduce benefits, which we don't want to
So
do. We want to be
with
able to
that,
maintain them.
I agree. With that perspective, of what you just said, what would be your comment on someone like terrorist organizations from other countries that they've never committed a crime in their country, but maybe they are being fed propaganda their whole life to hate America, and they've never committed a crime in their country, but then they come over with something crazy to unalive us?
If someone has a plan to unalive people, I wouldn't want them in the country either.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but you said that we should just let everyone in until they've committed a crime or if they have already committed one.
Yeah, how would you identify that they shouldn't be allowed in the country if it is the case that they haven't done something like that? Someone right now would be able to go on a plane and do that. I'm confused. How would the immigration
How would you get
process be
onto
any different?
I'm saying that that's why it shouldn't be free reign. We should
I'm sorry.
look into things
Do you
further.
think do you think that people should be able to fly to our country from other countries?
I get your standpoint on that. I get it.
So like, what's the difference in the process that they're able to fly to our country and they're able to immigrate here? That would at all change their ability to do
Isn't
this?
But isn't there a process with if you're just flying here, you're just visiting, you're not staying? I don't know how
Well, if you
long
can
someone
stay
can
within a
fly
certain
here
amount of
for.
time, but if they're going to harm people, they would be able to
hmm
stay long enough to harm people. I'm confused what your point is.
No, I get it. I get that too.
And also, if
But
they're
that's
gonna
why I like
violate
to
the
have
crime,
these
wait,
discussions.
if they're
Like,
gonna violate the law in that way, why wouldn't they just overstay the time that they could specifically stay here? They could just fly here and overstay. So
you make
I
a
don't,
very good point. But
because if
I'm not the type of person that's not going to admit if you make a good point. You know what I mean? And this is why I think that these conversations are essential and that more people need to have them respectfully rather than looking at me and saying, "Oh, you're right wing, you are racist, you're sexist, you're this, you're that," because
well, look, let me clarify here.
none
You
of
are willing
that's
to
true.
vote for a racist over a non-racist. You are willing to vote for a sexist over a non-sexist. Those are points as to why people have reasons to think that about you. Like they're saying that you, objectively speaking, voted for that over voting for someone that did not exhibit those characteristics. Now, I mean, I would love to
Okay,
continue
so
with the 14 points of fascism if we could do that real quick. I do have a few people to thank though in the meantime, real quick.
go ahead.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Madison, thank you so much for the $2. Thank you so much on V. I really appreciate it. I know I can't say like apparently I can't say the different things people can support me through in the context of my bio. But I'll just refer to them as VC and P. I think everyone knows what I'm referencing. But thank you so much, Madison. I really appreciate it too. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Jennifer with the 50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I always will though. Thank you so much. Put some W's for Jennifer in the comment section right now. Laura, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Jamie with the 20. I really appreciate it. Some W's for Jamie in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Charissa, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $2. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yes, I did see that people were saying that Dean stopped doing that. So I'm definitely trying to do that right now. As well as Shannon with the 100. Can we get some W's for Shannon in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. W's for Shannon in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Get some W's. Thank you so much for the 100. I really appreciate it. It's so kind of you. Thank you. Ryan with a 10. Susan, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Bree, thank you for the $3. I really appreciate it. Kaylee, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Sorry, I'm going to have to get used to this, everybody. Bridget with the 50. Can we get some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now? Thank you so much, Bridget. I really appreciate it. Get some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. As well as Tamara, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the 20. Carolina, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you. As well as let me catch up on YouTube real quick, and then we're going to go into the 14 points of fascism. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. If you want to support me as always, VCP is in the link tree in the bio. Eugenia, thank you so much for the 15. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Don't worry about that. That does not matter to me at all. Thank you so much. Ray, thank you for the 10 or for the $2. Thank you. Ryan, thank you so much for the $4. Thank you. Sorry, I keep doing that, everyone. Kathleen, thank you so much for the 10. Karen, thank you for the 1. Felonius, thank you so much for the 5. I really appreciate it. Victoria, thank you so much for the 50. Can we have some W's for Victoria in the comment section? Thank you for joining in from Dean's. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Jennifer, thank you for the 10. Rachel, thank you so much for the 2. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Carolina, thank you so much for the 5. Ducky with the 5. Or Carolina with the 10, I mean. Kathleen with the 10 as well. Thank you. Green Scare, thank you for the 5. BS, thank you so much for the 10. Owen with the 10. Carolina, thank you so much for the 5 twice. Thank you so much. As well as Jay with the 50. Thank you so much on V. I really appreciate some W's for Jay in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to get used to that, everybody. Thank you so much, Jay. I really appreciate it. That's so kind of you. Thank you very much. Susie, thank you for the 10. I really appreciate it. And Tom, thank you so much for the 10 as well. Thank you. Yes, that's obviously that's definitely relevant to it. For sure. For sure. I do think the 14 points makes it a little bit more clear because I think that terminology might make it a little bit hard to understand, but I do think it's important. But yeah, so Tay, I do have a few things. For the disdain for the recognition of human rights, the point that I was making was that he is violating human rights because he's approving of things like executions, especially without evidence, right? And it's that you can, it's essentially that people are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in these set of circumstances because of quote unquote like need or national security, but like these aren't necessary for national security. Like the people that were like, say they did have DRUGS on those boats, which there was no evidence that there was, the best way to address that would be to detain them once they get to U.S. waters, right? That's what we did under every other administration. The idea that we are extrajudicially murdering them is unhinged.
Yes. No, I agree. And like I said, especially with my stance on abortion, I think murder is wrong. You don't take someone's life. That's not your say to take someone else's life. That's why I said I don't align and support with everything single thing he says. I'm not just an empty freaking capsule taking in every bit of information that he spouts.
Okay, so
I do want to say
clarify.
this: if those drugs come into America, and I'm not condoning what unaliving, okay, in any way, shape, or form, ever. But I'm saying that it's also very wrong that those people were bringing, you know what, into could kill hundreds of Americans.
Wait, again, there was no evidence that there were DRUGS on the boat. Absolutely none. Let alone what DRUGS it was. There are plenty of DRUGS that specifically are not lethal, like in that connotation. So the
Mhm.
idea that that would specifically be reason to extrajudicially murder them would obviously be ridiculous. I don't think that you're arguing that. But also, again, we would just detain
Mhm.
them. You would still be able to
Yeah, no, I agree
prevent
they
that
should
from
have
happening
been
by
detained.
detaining them.
We're totally on the same page with that.
Okay, so at least we agree. It seems like the both first two have been met so far: powerful and continuing nationalism, and the disdain for the recognition of human rights.
Hmm.
Okay, number three: identification of enemies slash scapegoats as a unifying cause. So this is like him specifically saying that like liberals, communists, socialists, and quote unquote terrorists, right,
To
are
unite other
perceived as a
people.
common threat. Um,
Hmm.
uh, he also does this with immigrants and trans people and plenty of other communities as well. But I think that this one's very obvious as well. He does this.
I think both sides do that.
You could say that.
Do you agree?
But yeah, but it wouldn't be a specific racial, ethnic, or religious minority: liberals, communists, socialists, and terrorists, right? It would be like, for example, rich people, right? Identify which rich people aren't technically the enemies. Technically, people look at rich people that they need to pay more. That's not necessarily
Right.
identifying an enemy, and that's not necessarily scapegoating them. That's acknowledging like income inequality that exists within our country. So if
Hmm.
acknowledging like an issue within our country as a unifying cause for people to get together, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's an element, at least here, with the context of it being a racial, ethnic, or religious minority, liberals, communists, so terrorists, etc. So that's the specific. And
Argue like saying it's for the country. I don't recall anyone saying like, "Oh, let's make America great" or anything like that. But I definitely think they have the same idea, and that's how to make America great is by getting rid of the right. But this is the problem. I think everyone's so against each other. We need to find middle ground in all of these areas, and a lot of these topics that are so, this is why people are so passionate, because they're looking at it one way. They see Republican or Democrat, and automatically they think that just because of that label that you identify and agree with every single thing that's so far right or so far left, which just isn't the truth.
that's not what I'm saying you are agreeing with, but the point I'm trying to
No,
establish for you is that like because of this idea of wanting to constantly find middle ground amongst two positions, regardless of whether or not those positions are bad or good, right, is actually
mm-hmm.
one of the issues I think exists here because it's an aspect that normalizes the particular views that Trump has. It's treating Donald Trump's views as if they should be the same or treated the same as everyone else's view, which when it's an extreme perspective, and it's obviously a
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous perspective, to treat it the same and to say it as if you want to find middle ground between those two positions is obviously going to lead to an extreme outcome. Because then that gives me an incentive to be, the most possible extreme, because then there's going to find a point of the middle that is between us. So if I just be as extreme as I
Right.
possibly can be, well, then it's going to find something more of what I would actually want, right? Which
But you
kind
could
of doesn't
also argue
create,
that
it
for
creates
Hillary
actually,
Clinton, right?
it creates conditions for more divisiveness, not more middle ground. And then I also want to continue. Number four, this one's applicable to most people in the U.S. Supremacy of the military. It's essentially that you want a disproportionate amount of funding going to the military. That's self-explanatory. That one's obvious. Some of these are going to be different. The first ones are typically applicable to more people, like the number one and number four are typically applicable to like most people. Number five, though, rampant sexism. I don't think I need to explain this one. Do you agree with me that Donald Trump is sexist?
What would you say, and nobody come for me, what is your example? Give me your reasons of why he's sexist and
Yeah,
everything.
for sure. He bragged about walking to the changing rooms of naked women while they're changing without their consent. And an 18-year-old came
Mm-hmm.
out, said there were four girls as young as 15 years old in these changing rooms when Donald Trump would barge in. He said he grabbed them by the
Mm-hmm.
vagina without asking. He said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. He called his daughter voluptuous, said that she's always been voluptuous, which means curvy and sexually attractive. Said he'd be dating his own daughter if it wasn't his daughter. Said he had sex in common with his daughter, and said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. Those are just a few examples.
Yeah, I don't agree with those statements.
Okay, but do you think that he's sexist?
I'd to be honest with you, I'd have to look more into those statements and see what the context of it was. I know that Don't laugh. You know
What? No, I'm
easily,
sorry.
Parker.
What
You and I
context?
both know that certain
N-
things can be
nothing.
taken out of context.
Nothing.
I'm
Nothing.
saying,
I
okay,
would
for
give you the
example, when you
context.
said the thing
Hey,
about his daughter,
I'm
maybe he
genuine.
was
I'm
saying how
genuine though.
beautiful his daughter is,
Oh my God. What is
and
voluptuous means curvy and sexually attractive. So I'm sorry.
you
Like,
know how people don't look at exact definitions for everything, though. Like they don't look at
so what
a
did he
word
mean
they're
by
using.
voluptuous? What did he mean?
That's what I'm telling you. I have to look into.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that that's probably what he meant. He also said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass. Right. So can you
He
explain that one away?
repeat that.
He
I
said
didn't
yeah
hear
to
it.
Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass.
He yelled at him,
He said yeah to Howard Stern calling his daughter a piece of ass.
and he in agreement.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not right. But I think anyone
Is that
with
sexist?
a brain in their head would agree that that's sexist and wrong.
Okay, well then, yeah, I totally agree. That's sexist and wrong. So we agree Trump is sexist. So number 5 of rampant sexism. That's definitely very true. Okay. Um, Number 6. This is one where we might have a little bit of disagreement, but I think I have a pretty strong argument for this. Is that he's advocating for controlled mass media. Right? This is number 6. So, and we could have disagreement on this one. That could be fair, and I could move on to the other ones. He doesn't have to hit every single one to be a fascist. But the point that I would make with this one is that he said that other media organizations should be illegal. He said that if he could make TikTok 100% MAGA, he would. Those are explicitly going to be views of his in which suppress the alternative side.
Hmm.
So do you agree with that one being applicable, or would you still disagree?
It's something else I'd have to look into. And this is why I'm saying that. This is why I keep repeating that. Do you remember the whole how do I put this to where I can say it to where we won't get flagged? The instance where he was quote unquote mocking the camera guy that took his picture.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was a camera guy and he was coming up to him and he was intellectually disabled.
Oh,
And
so him making fun of a mentally disabled reporter?
yes, but I've also seen it. Have you ever, people are going to come for me. Oh, well. Have you ever tried to show someone what someone else did, like played out their actions? So that's up for speculation. Was he making fun of him or was he just
Oh, he
imitating
totally
what
was.
this
I'm
guy
sorry.
did?
I've seen that clip. That he obviously was.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I can move on from this. Let's keep going. Number
Smooth brain.
7. Number 7 is obsession with national security. This one's obvious. Number 8, religion and government are intertwined. Now listen to this one. This one could be a little bit
Wait, go
confusing.
back to number 7.
Obsession with national security. I don't think that one's
Don't
disputed.
you don't you think that the president should be like not obsessed? I wouldn't
Yeah.
say he's obsessed. I think he
Obsession
cares
goes far.
deeply.
Obsession goes far. So they should care
So where
deeply
has
about
he
national
obsessed?
security, but he's obsessed. Where is he obsessed? I mean, the wall,
I think we
right?
should have a
Sending
wall.
the National Guard into states that in which governors do not want them there.
Yeah. If
So
someone in your
that's his
if you
argument.
have people if you have people
let me
acting like
describe it. What
terrorists,
under it says fear is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. So that's something that he oftentimes will acknowledge as well, like the Department of War.
I think as crazy as this sounds, America needs some fear because you need to know
Okay,
that you
okay. So
cannot go
you can say that's
burning
a
and looting
you can say
stuff.
that's under your view that's a justified point of fascism, but then I'm arguing that like let me get through the rest of it. That's obviously
Go
still
ahead.
applicable to Trump. The next one is number 8. Religion and government is intertwined. Now let me give you the explanation. This will be a lot more clear to you. Governments in fascist nations tend to utilize the most common religion in the nation
I agree
as
that
a
he does that.
tool to manipulate public opinion. That one's clear
Yeah,
that Donald Trump
you
does
don't
that.
even need to explain that one. I agree with that.
Okay. Number 9. This one's obvious. Corporate power protected. It says the industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. He's clearly done this. This one is very obvious.
Like favoring the elite in America.
Yeah. Like he's specifically like inviting them to the White House to like have dinners and be in front of the media and to talk about how much they're quote unquote investing into this country. So I mean that's literally like what he's been
But
doing.
has he not also supported people in financial
I
need?
did
I
not
would
see.
say he's supported an abundance of people.
Well, we can talk about that in a second. But
Go ahead.
do you agree with that corporate power is protected under this description?
Not necessarily.
Really? So what do you disagree with?
Hasn't he had people with set quote unquote power that he's fired and got rid of? Those people also had power, did they not?
But he's still trying to create mutually beneficial relationships with elite, right? So just
I
because
think all presidents have
just
done
because they had a
that.
falling out with Elon doesn't mean that he's not trying to do that.
I wasn't even referencing to that, but I'm saying that every president in U.S. history has done that.
Well, you could say that, but again, just because a point specifically is applicable to someone doesn't mean that they're a fascist. So again,
Right, right.
it's not
I'll
one
let
of
you
these points.
finish.
It's all of these points. Yeah. Number 10, labor power is suppressed. This one I'll have to clarify a little bit. It's essentially the idea that like they try to minimize labor unions. Now you could try to disagree with this one. I think this one is clearly applicable because he has bragged with Elon Musk about literally like stifling and destroying labor unions. But we can
Hmm.
move on from this one if you don't agree with it.
I don't have any comment because I'm not educated enough and I don't like to speak on things that I just don't have any clue about.
Sure. Number 11, disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education and academia. So, like, that's quite literally going to be something that Donald Trump has done. Not only has he defunded cancer research and defunded different like universities, but he specifically also supported and tolerated open hostility against those like higher education. Right, one because he was specifically arguing that like they're like trying to indoctrinate our youth. Right, that's literally like the conservative argument that they're trying to indoctrinate our youth and that it's liberal, like associated with, right, and that like specifically like him going after like for example like the common ideas to be true in the context of the media or not in the media in the context of science, right, whether it be climate change, him denying this the scientific consensus on climate change, right, him denying the science on Tylenol, right, because Tylenol usage during pregnancy does not cause autism. There's a Swedish study that indicates that that's not true after taking into account siblings and genetics, which he did not take into account. So those are obviously him going after the intellectuals and the arts.
Yeah. No matter who the president was, I wouldn't take any medical advice from them respectfully.
Okay, but I mean that clearly shows a disdain for the intellectuals and the arts. Number 12 is obsession with crime and punishment. I mean he constantly says law and order, so I think that one's self-explanatory. And then like also like sending the National Guard into like areas around the United States. That's his obsession. Do you agree?
I think the National Guard is very necessary in these places that are committing violent crimes. And I don't think that we should permit it. Because if not National Guard, who's going to stop them? At some of these occurrences, the police are standing by because there's not enough of them. These people
I
were
have an
literally
argument.
overtaken.
I have an argument against that, but it sounds like that one's applicable to Trump. It sounds like you agree with that. I'll move on. Number
I
13
don't
is
agree that he's obsessed, but go ahead.
why not sending the National Guard
Because I
is
wouldn't call that obsession just because you are utilizing the National Guard to stop violence. That's not obsession to me. That's common sense.
no, it's obsession with him to specifically be sending it to like blue states, right, and for him to constantly talk about it all the time. Like that's
But
literally
that's
his.
where the violence is
When I
happening.
say obsessed, like what do you mean by obsessed?
When I think of obsession, I think of someone who's sitting there like, oh, what are ways we can do this and blah, 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 blah. Not as in a presidential way to how can we make this country better. Do you not agree? So
No,
what should we do
obsessed
for
means that they're
those
constantly
places?
addressing this. This is like something that they're really, really focused on, right? To an extreme extent,
Have
right?
you
And Trump is focused on it to an extreme extent.
I'm really, really focused on a lot of things in life. I wouldn't say that I'm
Okay,
necessarily obsessed with them.
we'll move on, right? I think that this is clearly him being obsessed, but we'll move on.
I don't
Rampant
agree.
cronyism and corruption. I mean, he literally dropped a meme coin where foreign governments can buy it without us knowing who they are, which can increase the valuation of his net worth. So that's clearly cronyism and corruption. I'm going to keep moving on because
I
there's no dispute of that.
You'll
Number
have to
four,
explain that one to me because I don't even know what that is, to be honest with
he
you.
dropped a meme coin, like a cryptocurrency, a Trump coin, and foreign governments around the world can buy it and increase the valuation of it, which would give money to Trump without us knowing who they are, which is essentially a
Hmm.
mechanism that he could use for bribery. So that's essentially what I'm arguing. Um,
Huh. Okay.
and then number 14 is fraudulent elections. This one's literally self-explanatory. Trump has been claiming the 2020 election has been rigged with absolutely no evidence for years at this point. So, yeah, those are the 14 points of fascism. Trump hits basically every single one. Even just the ones you disagreed with, you disagreed probably with like 3 or 4 of them max. That's still him hitting most of them.
Didn't you say that a lot of people agree with a certain amount of these,
Yeah,
though?
a few of them are going to be
What
applicable to
would you
people,
say?
but
What would you say
that
that the
many,
normal, like, individual, let's say, an independent, how many would you say they agree with on there?
maybe 3.
3? And how many do you think Trump agrees with? Because especially the one, I
All
don't think he
14.
has an obsession with the military.
I think he meets all 14.
So, what do you, especially on that point, because this is one I can argue, what do you think we should do in the places that these people are committing violent crimes and it is a crazy amount of people? Portland, Oregon, for example.
Oh, let me address this. So I think that if he actually wanted to address crime, he would not be sending the National Guard to areas that in which have blue governors, because that is a what's it called? That is a that it's a constitutional issue, because essentially you can't send in the National Guard if the governor doesn't consent to it. So why doesn't he send the National Guard to red states with red governors that have higher rates of murder? If you look at Portland, if you look at all these different cities he's sending people to, there are red states that have cities with inside of them that have higher rates of murder. Like, for example, why don't we look at the murder rate in Louisiana specifically, right, which is led by a Republican governor? He can
Hmm.
send the National Guard there. Or what about Texas? Texas has a higher murder rate than California. He should be sending it
I
to
think it's
Texas rather than
because how
sending
are
it to
they going to
California.
catch these people? I think the issue here is these people, they're going to these rallies on a daily basis. They know they're going to be there and they know what's happening, and it's violence. And it's not
I'm
all,
sorry, that's
it's, I'm
ridiculous.
not
The
saying
obviously the police department can handle it. Now, please, like let's
they
get a
can't.
yes, they can. That's why
They,
the
well,
gov.
they won't, is what
So
I should
so
say.
you can sit there and you can say that all you want, but why doesn't Trump send the
There's
National
proof.
Guard to states in the United States that are red states where there's no constitutional issue with sending the National Guard there, that have higher murder rates than any of the places that he sent troops to?
Because they would have to do a whole investigation. They're going to have to somehow
What?
find who's doing the murdering.
They what?
What do
What do
you
you mean they
mean?
have to do a whole investigation? What do you? I'm confused. Why
Are,
aren't they?
are,
No,
are you going to have people just walk
listen
out
to my
into the
question
street?
one more time, okay? I'm gonna repeat it one more time. Why
Okay,
send the
let's be
National
respectful
Guard?
first.
I'm being respectful.
As
I'm just
someone
trying to
that's not a sexist, right?
what?
You're not a sexist, but you're going to scream your questions at me. Ask them like a normal human being.
Was I screaming at you?
You keep rolling your eyes, Parker, and laughing at my questions.
How
I'm
is
trying to find
rolling my
common
eyes
ground with you.
screaming at you?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what you've been doing the entire live.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking and you were interrupting me, and you're saying that I was yelling at you when I wasn't yelling
You
at
have
you. This
also
is literally
interrupted me.
recorded.
Okay, ask your question because we're diverting from the subject.
Okay, so then the point I'm referencing is that the National Guard, right? If you don't want an issue with specifically sending the National Guard into places, send it to a area in which is a red state where there's no issue from a constitutional basis with sending the National Guard there. There are places around the United States where there are red states with cities inside of them that have higher murder rates than all the cities that he's already tried to send the National Guard to. So all of these types of quote-unquote protests that are leading to violence wouldn't happen to the same extent if you weren't sending the National Guard into blue states. Okay? Send it into red states. Why? What is the reason why you don't want to send it into red states? To then show the rest of the
I'm
country
not.
that it's going to be
I
an
didn't say
effective
that.
mechanism to address
When did
crime.
I say I was against that?
Well, I'm asking why is Trump doing that essentially?
I'm saying that these. It's kind of like these people are already. We know where they're at. We know where to find them. They're going to be at the same place every day. And there is a multitude of them. That is why it's National Guard level. Is there
Repeat
not
that, sorry.
murder everywhere in the US?
Well, I agree that there's murder, but like I'm saying, like one, there's a constitutional issue with sending them to democratically run states. So I'm asking, why are you sending them to democratically run states rather than Republican run states? Because there wouldn't be a constitutional issue with sending them to Republican run states.
Because I don't think that these freaking protests where people are rioting and breaking stuff. Let me ask you this. Are you against the National Guard going in and taking care of these people that are destroying property, hitting federal agents, and making
They
death
wouldn't be hitting
threats?
federal agents if you weren't sending federal agents there. So one, it would be
What?
genuinely like if they wouldn't be hitting federal agents if federal
So
agents weren't there to hit.
so
Okay,
that's
that's one.
justified?
Two is it?
That's
No,
justified to hit them?
no, I'm not saying that's a justification. I'm just acknowledging the
Oh,
reality, right? I think
you
it's.
said okay, well if they didn't go there, they're trying
Can
to
I please
protect the
can I please speak
community.
without you cutting me off? That would be fantastic.
Go
Okay.
ahead, Parker, because you're about to piss me off.
Why? Because I want to speak. I don't want to
Because
be cut
you've been
off.
speaking. I just let you ramble on 14 freaking different things. Go
Ramble? What do
ahead.
you mean? You've been the one talking for most of this time. I barely spoke.
I disagree. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you can watch back this conversation on YouTube later, and the entire conversation comment section will be disagreeing with you there. Now,
Yeah, because they're leftists.
no, what do you? I'm not a leftist. Well, I'm a liberal.
Okay, liberal leftists. Close enough.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just saying because it's technically a distinction, but seemingly conservatives don't understand the distinction. But again, in terms of the National Guard, essentially the point I'm making is
That's
again,
not disrespectful to you.
what's
How
not
do you
disrespect.
expect to have a conversation by throwing backhanded remarks at me and rolling your eyes?
What backhanded remark?
Apparently, conservatives don't understand the difference. I didn't say they were the exact same. Did I ever say that? I said close enough because
Yeah,
they align in a lot of ways. Correct?
yeah.
Yes.
So not necessarily like the just because people align in a certain amount of ways doesn't mean that they are the same or that you could refer to them utilizing the same word. That doesn't really make any sense. But sure, I'm okay with you saying that. I was just clarifying. Okay. Now, in terms of the National Guard, to go back to that, right, on what we were talking about, the National Guard being sent to areas in which have Republican-run states, right, there wouldn't be a constitutional issue there. Okay, so Trump should be sending them there so he could show the rest of the country that it's going to be an effective mechanism for addressing crime. Otherwise, what he's actually doing is not trying to address crime. What he's trying to do is he's testing the bounds of his authority and how much he can violate the Constitution and what the court's response will be. That's to me what it seems like he's actually trying to do rather than actually address the violent crime in these cities.
I'm not against the National Guard going into red states in the slightest. I'm saying that I'm asking you what is your issue with them going into the blue states, not, and I understand if they're only going into blue states, but my point is the National Guard is called to these areas where really crazy things are happening. Like you said, like these crazy murder capitals. I think they should be there too, but I encourage them to go to these places where people are doing such heinous things.
Okay, so here's my one thing is that like when I brought up the federal agents not being they wouldn't get attacked specifically if it was the case that they weren't sent in the first place. The point that I was making with that is that the Trump administration is causing conflict in these different states specifically by sending federal National Guard to these states when it is the case that that specific type of violence did not exist prior to that point. So I'm saying that they're actually making it more divisive. They're causing more violence by specifically sending the federal National Guard there. That's kind of like the point that I was making. Secondly, my issue is that him sending like the National Guard to these states is because the like governors have not requested this and actually disagree with them doing so. So again, if that's the disagreement, that's the issue constitutionally, send them to places where the governors are asking for it. We don't have unlimited resources, right? So send it to places where they want to go. And if he's not doing that, well, it's because he doesn't actually care about addressing crime and he's running political theater and he's trying to see how far he can go and see what the courts are going to do in response to his authoritarian actions. That is what he's doing. And I'm telling you this not because I'm trying to fearmonger. I'm telling you this because it's a threat to our country. and because we are going to have massive issues to an extremely greater extent if we don't stand up now against this bullshit.
So what is the solution for these states that I have witnessed with my own two eyes? I wouldn't just make this up. The police, there's not enough of them. They're standing by because these crowds are so immensely large, and they are all attacking the police. They're attacking ICE agents. Portland.
So what is the level of crime in Portland?
And it's many other places too. I just don't have every single location.
What is the violent crime rate in Portland?
Huh?
What's the violent crime rate in Portland?
I don't know.
So then how do you know it's worse in Portland right now comparative to prior?
Because I have eyes. I see what's happening.
I mean,
if you look it up, I have to live in Portland to have witnessed it.
Well, you said eyes. You saw it with your eyes. I mean, I don't know how you would have saw it
on a video, on multiple videos
so
by multiple witnesses.
By the way, you can't tell a rate of crime just by looking at a video.
I can see the multitude of people and know that this is becoming a huge issue.
So you're saying that this is becoming a huge issue, but you have yet to specify a specific stat. Could you specify a specific stat that is shows that it's
just
worse off in
because
Portland?
I can't
and also again, this is not unique to Portland, right? There are places around the world where there's crime. Okay, why is it the case that Trump is only sending it to these blue states where he knows that there's going to be a constitutional issue? Please tell me you realize that this is him trying to test his bounds of his authoritarian control. Please tell me you realize that.
You're not answering my question though. What is the issue with sending? What is the issue with sending the National Guard to an area where these people gather and commit violent crimes, and there are so many that they are nearly, if they wanted to, they could easily tenfold take over the police, and that's why they're unable to do anything.
The police are not a threat at being taken over in Portland. Okay, this is obviously a ridiculous
They're
argument.
hitting them because they're calling them fascists.
I'm sorry,
they're not even doing anything.
To argue that they're about to take over the police is a ridiculous point. Okay, I'm sorry. No, you haven't.
Okay,
you have not seen that. You have not seen that. Don't do this. You're playing playing right into Trump's narrative. You're playing right into it.
I have witnessed these people attacking law enforcement.
Okay,
not just one.
I'm sorry. That's not unique. 50. You understand that's not unique to just one area in the United States, right? There are places all around the United States where there are police officers that have been attacked. Do you know that, right? Did you know that? For example, in D.C. on January 6th. And, Donald Trump pardoned the people who did that.
I'm going to let you finish.
I'm already done.
You're not answering my question. In these places, should we allow the National Guard, if there are multiple people attacking law enforcement and it's getting out of hand, it's getting to where the police, first of all, they might not, they're just standing by and they're not really doing anything. And I'm not saying that's right either. They need to do their job and arrest these people that are assaulting.
You live in a
Nick
different
Shirley's
reality.
Literally just walking in these.
You live in a different reality than everyone else. I swear. It's like
you live in a different reality.
Genuinely,
Parker.
The police are not at threat of being taken over, right? In Portland, that's not happening. If that were happening, yes, it would make sense to send to the National Guard.
I'm saying in a small area.
Hold on. Can I please finish?
You love to interrupt me, but I can't interrupt you.
Go ahead. Say whatever you want. Interrupt me whenever the conversation. That will be so productive. Go for
it. What you're doing is you're trying to make everything I say sound silly. I'm giving you real life accounts of things that are happening.
That's not me.
And you're just pretty much saying that I'm silly. I'm indoctrinated. This isn't really happening. Yes, it is.
It's not. You don't actually have any basis for this. It is silly. You're doing that yourself. It's not me doing that. It's you yourself doing that. Okay? I don't know why you're trying to brand I'm doing this when it's you arguing that, and then people respond that way because it is silly.
You're telling me that has not happened in Portland, that people have not attacked the police and that there's not thousands of people.
People have attacked police officers, but it is not to a point where the police officers are about to be taken over. We can also point to how police officers have been attacked by ICE agents and by federal officers in the National Guard.
Okay, let me rephrase. Let me not use the word takeover. These people are becoming too much to handle for
No, they're not.
just the.
Has that been
Why
said by
not?
the police? Can you tell me which police department said that
I
in
think
Portland?
actions speak better than words.
Which police department said that?
I think actions speak better than
I think
words.
if this were happening, police departments would indicate that they need help, right?
That's why they sent the National Guard.
No, it's not. Because the police officers have not advocated for this, have not asked for this. The governor has not asked for this. It's actually against what the police officers are advocating for. It's against what the governor is asking for, because Donald Trump is again trying to declare war on American cities, to declare war on the enemy within, and to literally try and fight people, right? Specifically to test his authoritarian control, right? And what the courts are going to do in response. Again, people in Portland are telling you this is not true. Police officers in Portland are telling you this is not true. Okay? You don't have a source for this. This is just a literal claim from the Trump administration that they're trying to fearmonger people into believing because it's a utilized method of control.
I've never heard them say that. I'm just saying what I've witnessed. I'm saying that I've seen a lot of people. So what would be your resolution? What's your resolution to this?
Yeah. So what I think that you should do, I think you should send the National Guard under your own perspective. I don't think we should do this under my perspective. I don't think the National Guard needs to be sent anywhere, essentially. But under your own
No, I want to
perspective,
know what you
if
would
you
do.
want to test this, send this to red states, show the rest of the United States that's an effective mechanism to address crime, and then other places around the United States will ask for it.
I'm not against sending them to red states. I've never made that claim.
Well, that's the
I'm
best
just
way to prove
saying
it.
that
You said,
it's.
what's the solution? I gave you the solution.
I'm asking, but that's not answering my question. I'm asking, is
Tell
it
me, what
okay
question
for
am I
the
not answering?
is it okay for the National Guard to go in and handle this situation where there's a multitude of people attacking law enforcement
In
and
Portland, no.
innocent people? And why aren't you for that? Like, why is that wrong to you?
Because none of the police departments have asked for it, because the governor has not asked for it, and they've actually advocated against this happening. And they're actively saying, no, we do not want you to come. Because it makes the conditions worse, not better.
So just because of people's personal beliefs and how they view law enforcement is making that's an excuse for their actions. That's an excuse to act out.
What do you mean an excuse to act out? I said that the
You told
places...
me that they're pretty much making it worse by going there.
They are, yes. That's what the places themselves have indicated to be true, and that's what we saw here in LA. I live in Los Angeles, and it was better prior to the National Guard being sent here.
Yeah, because people were getting away with it. So of course they were happy.
What am I doing?
I'm not did I say you? I'm talking about the people.
I said me. I'm happy. What do you mean? Why is that a response to me saying I'm happy?
Okay, maybe I misheard you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that are committing crimes. Why are you against the National Guard stopping people from committing crimes?
Because the governor doesn't want the National Guard to be sent. I don't want to live in an authoritarian police state. I think that there needs to be more investment specifically into how we're addressing this on a local level, which does not have to do with the federal government. I do not want the federal government, especially under the Trump administration, have any jurisdiction over the area that I'm living in. I would prefer it specifically to be the state of California dealing with it. That's from someone living in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles right now. I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Nice. So what do you do when that's not enough?
What do you mean?
When your state isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. They're not stopping these people.
I think my state
not
is doing
stopping the
more
crime.
than the federal government.
Okay. But I'm saying in a situation to where your state, let's do hypothetical since you don't want to agree. If your state, if there are riots in your state, I don't care what it's for. Let's even say hypothetically it is right-wing MAGAs and they are burning things to the ground, and say for some reason the police aren't able to handle the situation or control it, or they're just standing
Okay,
aside.
this is
And
this is the issue that I'm having, is that you're assuming these conditions to be true where the police cannot handle it. Okay? That's not what's happening in any of these areas. It's disingenuous for you to argue this when that's not happening. You're living in an alternate reality.
so I want you, just do me a favor. Do me a huge favor, as much as it may pain you. Go watch a Nick Shirley video. You don't have to watch anything he says. You don't have to
How
watch
about you
anything he
go into
says.
Nick Shirley's comment section? How about you go into all of his streams and tell him to debate me?
I would love that. I would love
I
that.
would love to debate him. Let's see if he can actually argue his positions with me. I would love
I
to
would
see
love
that.
that. I would definitely pay to watch that. So if you guys ever decide to go in on it, that'd be great. But that doesn't answer my
Speaking of which,
question.
I'll see what I can do to get that to happen, and I'll destroy
Please.
him on
Oh my
on a
gosh.
stage of millions.
I would love it. Go ahead. So, by the way, comments like that are what divide us. Just saying.
What?
Because you're not
Me?
saying it like, yes,
How?
you don't understand. You're not saying that with any disdain in your heart, Parker.
I'm saying that with the fact that I
I will
really vehemently
destroy him. I
disagree
will
with.
go up there and I will obliterate his whole argument.
Yeah, I can't say I'm
Why
going to
can't
beat
you
people
just
in a
why can't
debate. I
why
can't say
can't
I'm
you
going to win a
just
debate in
you're proud.
2025. You're such
You're
a snowflake.
proud.
I can't say that I'm going to win a debate.
No, you didn't say I'm going to win a debate. You said I'm going to obliterate him, man. Like prove all these MAGAs why they're so stupid and wrong. That's essentially what you're saying,
literally
right?
all. That's all. That just means win a debate. Yeah.
Okay, but how does that bring us together? I thought the left is supposed to be
Because
full of love
it
and
brings us together
everything
towards
else.
facts and reality. If I prove you wrong, it brings us towards facts. So I think that we unify through critical thinking. I think that we unify through reason. I think that we specifically will come together and unify through facts, reason,
But
and
how can
logic.
you?
That's how we unify in evidence. We do not unify by accepting conspiracy bullshit, right? And me calling that out and me saying it's stupid is important for unity, because we cannot have
That's
unity when
important for
people
unity.
believe in
Calling people
bullshit.
stupid.
Yes, when people believe in bullshit, how are we going to unify? If we all have just our own,
Okay.
if we all just make up our own conspiracy theories, how are we ever going to be on the same basis? The only way that we can truly come to the same basis and unify is if we are believing in the same facts and reality. Okay.
Do
So
you
I
expect
understand.
someone
I understand that you want me to be more respectful, but if you actually cared about that, you'd ask that from your president, and you wouldn't vote for a candidate like that who had a nickname for every single person that he ran up against to discredit them, to act like they're lesser than, right?
As a woman, I would rather have a sexist as president than someone who argues for the murder of millions and millions of lives every single year.
Who?
Kamala, didn't she not
Kamala? Wait.
support abortion?
Argues for murders of millions. By the way, millions of abortions don't occur in the United States per year. Secondly, if you want to look at the level of abortions that occur, there's
It's a
actually
co-
more.
it's a few
There's actually
million.
more abortions that occur now since Roe versus Wade was overturned than there was prior when Roe versus Wade was in place. So actually, Donald Trump, under your view, is also in support of the quote unquote murder of millions, because it is the case that he is okay with it being left up to the states. His position is
I
also, from a moral perspective, says that it's too early at like 6 weeks. That's what he was saying. He was saying that it was better at quote unquote 15 weeks, which actually is okay with over 90% of abortions. Did you know that?
did you I've said this multiple times now. Did you not hear me when I told you I do not agree with everything our president says?
Okay, but this
When
argument
did
that
I
you
say
just
I
applied
lied?
to Kamala Harris is also applicable to Trump, but you'll only apply the standard to Kamala Harris, and you will never apply the standard to Donald Trump. You'll overlook the fact that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse. You overlook the fact that he incited a violent
No,
insurrection at the
because with
Capitol,
him it
and he
was
pardoned the
less. It
violent
was
rioters who
less
beat police
abortions.
officers. You overlook the fact that he specifically, right, literally said he would date a 10-year-old girl in 10 years. You'll overlook the fact that his big, beautiful bill specifically adds $3.4 trillion to the debt and also cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month in this country. You'll overlook all of that. Why? Because you think that Democrats are arguing for the murder of millions, yet Donald Trump has that very same position.
I disagree. I don't think he's ever advocated for the murder of millions. I'm saying
He
and
did, right? Under your own
are you
perspective.
gonna
He
let me
thinks
finish?
No, because I just argued the reason why and you didn't listen. What was
You're
my
not letting
argument?
me finish. I'm going to get to that. You're
Go
saying
ahead.
that he left it up to the states, which inherently is allowing the same exact thing as Kamala. But he's
Kamala.
saying yeah. So he's saying for his stance is more what do you want to call it? Strict. There's tighter barriers on his stance than hers.
Okay. Tighter. I'm confused what your point is there. What?
Trump's stance is going to prevent more murders than allowing Kamala to just what? How do you pronounce her name? Kamala.
Kamala.
Okay, Kamala. It will prevent. Trust me, I would have loved, and it killed me. It killed me to have to vote Republican because I wanted a female president so badly. But I cannot align myself with people who think that murder is okay.
Okay, so let's clarify. Do you think a zygote is a person?
Like a human being?
A zygote, a single cell organism at conception.
It's a human being.
So you think it's a single cell organism is a human being. So if I had a petri dish with a zygote in it and I slapped the shit out of it to kill it for fun, for TikTok and YouTube content, for the 11,000 people that are in the stream, would you like say I should go to murder, or should I should go to prison for murder?
Yes. Why don't you? If that is so, do you agree that if I was going to
Cancel
get
Parker?
IVF,
So you want Parker to get canceled for killing a zygote?
1,000,000,000%. Do you agree that anyone who walks into a medical facility and would take a potential life of someone's child that they're trying so hard to get, you don't think there should be any cause for like reprimanding that person? You think that's just okay to do? That's what you're arguing, Parker.
Yeah, mass unfollowing of Parker, get a job, everyone. You heard it here first, folks. Mass unfollowing of Parker, get a job, because he's a zygote killer. Okay. A zygote killer on the loose. Mass unfollowing Parker, get a job.
So
don't follow him anymore.
Okay.
Stop following this guy. He's a zygote killer, a serial zygote killer.
Is that what you're going to do because you know that I'm right? You think that's okay?
No,
you think that should be legal? Do you think that should be legal?
Absolutely. I think I should be able to legally go on the live
to
and
walk
slap
into a
zygote.
medical facility and
with my
take
own. I'm
a
talking
woman. First of all, is that not part of a woman's body?
I'm not talking about. No, we're talking about a zygote in a petri dish, and it's my own zygote that I made. I'm a zygote slapper.
You did not just make that zygote yourself.
Yes, I did.
Where'd you get the egg?
My girlfriend. My girlfriend consented, and she said that she wanted me to slap the zygote on the stream.
No.
What? What do you mean no? My girlfriend is in. My girlfriend is in with it. She wants me to be a zygote killer. She knows I'm gonna be the very best that no one ever was. To kill every zygote is... Pokemon. Gotta kill the zygotes.
I don't know how you could say that with a smile on your face. I really don't. It's not even funny, Parker. I don't know if you just.
It's fucking hilarious. Actually, it's not funny. It's fucking hilarious. I totally
really
agree.
Not.
It's not even just funny.
So
it's fucking hilarious. I think it's amazing.
There are women out here that literally their hearts are torn apart because they're not able to have
a single cell organism. Are you kidding me? A single cell.
With the potential.
There's not a single person in this live stream of almost 12,000 people that actually cares about a zygote. I'm sorry. No one cares about a zygote. Seriously, if you care about a zygote, you are one of the sole of there's probably less than 1 million people on the planet. Actually, in all considerations of things, there's probably less than 1 million people on the planet that actually view zygotes as people and human beings of the same moral worth as me and you. Literally, there's probably 1 million people on the planet. Out of fucking 8 billion people on the planet, there's maybe 1 million.
So let me get this straight. If that's okay, because it's just a single cell organism. When is it not okay? When it just starts growing more cells? We grow new cells every day. Our red blood cell production every day continues to grow. So why is that okay? Because we're stopping it so early that there's no moral worth there. You don't believe there's any moral worth within a zygote,
Absolutely fucking none.
even though you were one.
I mean, I used to be
Your
a sperm
mother
and an
was
egg,
one. Your father was one.
and they
You
used to be sperm and egg.
which is a zygote.
No, sperm and egg prior to fertilization is not a zygote yet. But dude,
No,
I don't
you
give a shit
said
about.
sperm and egg
I'm sorry.
together.
I have a question. Do you think that you could fully look at a human being under a microscope?
What?
Do you think you could fully look at an entire human being
Why are
underneath
you
a
asking
microscope?
questions that we both know the answer to? That's disrespectful.
Do,
Obviously,
do you believe in Ant-Man? Do you believe that technology is real? Do you believe in Ant-Man? Do you believe that's possible?
I don't know how someone could sit here and say that it's funny or it's a joke to kill the potential 20-year-old who loves going to coffee
What do
shops
you mean
and
kill the
brags
potential
about
20? I'm sorry. It's a single cell organism. What are you talking about?
that will mo in a lot
I'm
of different
sorry.
cases. I'm not
I'm
talking
sorry.
about
No, I can't even fathom we're having this conversation about a single cell organism. It's a bacteria, bro. It's
that will
literally
be
the
a human
same
being. That
level
will
of
be a
complexity of
human
life
being.
as a bacteria.
That will be a human being.
I thought under your view it
And you're
already.
stopping that
Wait,
progression.
I thought it
That's
was.
like saying,
Wait,
"Oh,
wait,
this
wait. You said
newborn
you said
is
that.
inconvenient,
Pause.
so let's
Pause.
just
Pause.
kill him."
Pause. You said it will be a human being, so you at least agree it's not currently a human being. Okay, agreed. Zygotes
Well,
are not currently human beings. So if I kill
I'm
a zygote,
saying
why should I go to
using
prison? If it's not a human being, why should I go to prison for murdering it under
you
your
can't
view?
overtalk me to try to prove your point. I'm saying it
I was
from
still
your
speaking.
perspective because you don't think that's a human being.
Obviously, it's a zygote's not a human being.
So, what species is the zygote?
It's of the human species, but it doesn't make it a human being.
Oh, so it's a human, right?
Well, I have a question. Human sperm, is it of the human species?
A sperm is not the same thing as a
Well, no, but
zygote.
answer
You
the
and
question.
I
Answer,
both
she can't
know
answer that.
that.
She won't be able to answer this question. Human sperm. What species is it of?
I don't think it's a species.
Yeah, there's some living beings don't have a species under your view. Really?
I'm saying that a zygote is completely and utterly different
Can
from
you answer
a
this question?
sperm, and you
Can
know
you answer this
that.
question? Do all living beings have a species?
Do all living beings have a species?
Yes.
As in, like, dog, cat, human.
Like a species classification. Homo sapien is a species classification.
Do all living things have that?
Yes.
No.
No? Could you let me know what living things do not have species classifications?
Unless, maybe I told you got to watch me with my vocabulary here and the exact
Their species list,
definitions.
everyone, their species list. They don't have a
All right,
species.
Parker,
No species
that's-
for those living organisms. Could you tell me what a species is?
No, I couldn't. And I told you that from the start, Parker. I told you that my vocabulary was not going to be broad. I don't get on here every day like you do, and I don't do as much research as you do. But I have morals, and killing living things is wrong. Human beings in particular. So nobody come at me with the tree content.
Okay, so is it murder to pull the plug on an individual in your family that's brain dead?
We already discussed this.
Yes, and what's your position on that still at this point?
I told you my position on that was we need to have advanced directives, which a lot of people do. If that we don't know, I think those people should be kept alive. I don't think we should be given the option, and that's why I think
everyone in the comment section that did pull the plug, you think that they're a murderer?
No.
No, but they're a living organism. They're living. They're of the human species.
I feel like that's a merciful death that's already waiting to happen, though.
What do you mean a merciful death? I'm sorry.
That's,
What?
You think? Do you believe that someone should just live there?
When
with
I
no
slapped the
sentence?
fuck out of the zygote, that was a merciful death.
We talked about this? That has potential. A zygote has potential.
Yeah, it has potential to get slapped.
Okay, Parker. I'll be done here. because I don't think we're going to find common ground on that.
I
And
don't think either. Like, I think if you think that a single cell, well, actually, let me ask you this question: if you're in a burning building and you can either save 2 zygotes in petri dishes or 1 newborn
this
baby,
is the Jubilee question.
which would you rather save?
If you're in a burning building and there is a newborn and 2 zygotes,
Yeah, and you can either save the 2 zygotes or the 1 newborn baby. Which would you rather save?
that's not a fair question because I know how I'd answer it, and that's where you get people.
It
But
is.
that's not
Would
a
you?
fair
So yeah, would you rather save
statement.
2 human beings or 1 human being? Under your view, which one is it? 2 human beings or 1 human being?
If if those zygotes are going to be implanted into a woman and be a life, and that's the future for sure, the zygotes. All right, Parker.
You would save 2 zygotes over a newborn baby from a burning building? You'd let the newborn
Okay, let me
baby
ask you
burn
this. Let me ask
alive
you this.
because
Let
of
me
2
ask you
single
this.
cell organisms, dude.
Let me ask you this. Would you rather save 2 adults or 1 3-year-old?
I'm sorry. Like I think we would save 2 people over 1 person. Like, all things considered, we don't know anything about them.
Oh, but
Like,
you disagreed with what I just said, that you just chose the same exact option.
how so?
Because I told you those are going to
2
be
adults
2
are
people.
sentient. 2
What
adults
does
are
it matter?
sentient.
So for you,
Wait,
what
I'm sorry. I'm
matters
sorry.
to you
Pause.
is
Pause.
location,
2
age,
adults are sentient. Like,
and
they have
we've already
experiences.
clarified
They're
that.
going to
But
experience being burned alive.
like I said, you make good
No,
points.
like, your
and you
question
have
was,
good
would you
arguments.
rather save 2 human beings or 1? Math tells you 2 is more than 1. This isn't a complicated
Right,
thing to
but
understand.
I again with the disrespect.
No, I'm not trying
Um,
to be disrespectful. I literally am just
but
describing.
it
It's not a
comes
complicated
across
thing to
like that,
understand.
Parker. I'm trying to find common ground. I'm trying to show people that we can have a discussion and we don't have to hate each other. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Okay, but like, we can't act like every single view that's said should be treated the same. If someone comes on alive and they say that they believe the Earth is flat, should I treat that as a valid perspective?
Yes, but you can educate
Yes.
respectfully, not laughing, rolling your eyes.
No, I could totally. At a certain point, after I've had a conversation with them and they're not changing their mind, I think it's totally reasonable for me to say that they're stupid.
So you think I'm stupid?
I didn't say it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're disrespectful.
I didn't say it. I didn't
wish-
say it. I said that about
you
flat
didn't say
earthers.
it,
I
but
was
you
talking.
made- you
I
gave
was
the
talking
look
about.
of smile.
Stop. I was talking about flat earthers. Okay.
All right.
I'm serious. I was talking about flat earthers. I didn't talk about you.
I'll have you know, I'm a very educated individual. I just am not educated on every single thing I've ever come across, especially
How about this?
politics.
To ask you a question, could you name 2 Trump economic policies he influenced to get passed that you like?
2 economic policies that he influenced.
Yeah, to get passed that you like.
No, I could not.
How many branches of government are there?
3:
What are they?
legislative, judicial, and executive.
What are the 2 main aspects of the legislative branch?
Do you want to go back and forth, because I could also ask you things that eventually you'll
Go
get
ahead.
an incorrect answer to.
Go ahead. What are the 2 main
Okay, what
aspects
is-
of the legislative branch?
I don't know, but
The House and the
is
Senate?
that your goal? Is that your goal, to just try to find something that I'm not educated
go
on
ahead.
and be
Go
like,
ahead.
wow, look how stupid she
ask
is?
me how many members are in the House of Representatives. 435. Ask me how many members are in the Senate. 100. Ask
But
me
this is
anything about
what
the
you-
context of the federal
Parker,
government from a basic
Slow
level.
down, slow down, calm down.
Yeah, calm
You
down.
do this every day. You do this every single day.
Okay.
I work a full-time job in a hospital every single day.
Great
I have
for
a
you.
son.
What does VAER
I'm
stand
not.
for?
I'm not comparing. I think it's great what you do. I
Can I
love,
ask you a
no
question?
matter what you think, I love that you use your freedom of speech and that you are very passionate about what you believe in. I love that. And I mean that genuinely.
What does VAER stand for?
What to spell it?
VAERS. VAERS.
I have no clue.
Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. You said you work in a hospital.
Yes, but you need to know what type of job I do in the hospital. I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
I'm not asking. I only asked that because, like, you know, my parents worked in the hospital. My mom was a nurse and my dad's a doctor. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure your mom wouldn't know as much as your dad would know about every single system in the body. So it's
Well, I
not.
wasn't asking about systems in the body. I asked you about Varus. My mom would know what Varus
I'm
stands
making
for.
an analogy. I'm making an analogy.
Okay,
You
but
can't
like
compare that because
I
I'm
guess how
not
would you know how much my mom would know versus my dad? Like there are
because I
plenty of
work in a
nurses that know
hospital.
more than doctors, but
But there's it depends on what you're talking about, does it not?
obviously, but like I mean, I think that there are plenty of nurses I could point to that know a lot more than the doctors.
It depends on what you're talking about.
Exactly. So like I guess the assumption is what
I'm
I was
sure
just
if I
trying to
had a
push back
nurse go
on.
and take the boards and the medical examinations, they wouldn't pass. Maybe here and there some would, but then again, you could say in the same breath that if you had a doctor go in and try to do wound care, they wouldn't have a clue what they were doing. So
Yeah.
that's
So
kind of
yeah, but the
you see
point
what
that I
I'm
was making
saying.
was just like how we viewed nurses versus
I, I,
doctors. I
I
guess the
assure you, I do my job well and I take pride in it. I was the valedictorian of my college class. I am no dummy over here. I'm just not educated and I'm ignorant about a lot of things in politics. And that's why I come on here to try to learn and to not,
how do you
you
feel
know,
about Trump
argue
saying
with
that
people.
that nothing bad can happen, only good happen in relation to not taking Tylenol to treat fever during pregnancy?
He said, I'm sorry, go ahead and repeat that.
He said nothing bad can happen, only good happen.
With taking Tylenol with pregnancy, I thought he
No,
was,
with not
he's
taking
against it.
Tylenol, to treat fevers during pregnancy.
I I had COVID unfortunately twice when I was pregnant, and thank God for Tylenol
Okay,
because I would much rather have a quote unquote. And I'm just people. I don't agree with it, so calm down.
there's no
I would much
association.
rather
I know
have.
exactly. There's no association between Tylenol usage during pregnancy and autism. There's a Swedish study
I
that looked
don't believe
over.
that either.
Yeah, so like that's the point that I was
Yeah,
essentially trying to get you to run into is that
correlation is not causation,
yeah,
and that's what they're seeing.
exactly. So like
Um,
essentially the point that I'm getting to is that like you should be able to realize from the standpoint you are, because especially because the type of work that you do, that Donald Trump and his administration lie about science, and that creates a public health crisis, right?
no, I trust me. If there's anything that I'm against to, it's totally that. You don't have to worry about my child, sweetheart. He's with his amazing father. And mom just got off of a 16-hour shift, so I think I'm entitled to a little bit of me time. You should know that as a woman yourself. However, that's why I gotta turn the phone so I
I'm
quit
confused.
reading these.
Were you responding to like a comment or something? I'm
I was
confused.
responding to a comment. I wasn't reading them for like a whole hour and a half, and then I started looking at them. However, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
about Trump.
Here,
No, no, no,
I
no,
guess,
no.
I
I
guess, I guess,
totally,
because you're
totally,
reading
totally
random
disagree.
comments, I'll read them too. Laura, thank you so much for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Kim, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Heidi, thank you for the 5. I really appreciate it. Julia, thank you for the 15. I really appreciate it. Raymond with the 10. Thank you. Reba, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Juliana, thank you so much for the $15. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Marissa, thank you so much for the 10. Jeanette, thank you so much for the 420. Thank you for not 420, but 420. Orange, thank you so much for the 5. Margaret, thank you so much for the 25. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Chelsea, thank you so much for the 5. Heather, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Lars with the 40. Can we get some W's for Lars in the comment section right now? Thank you so much. Maria, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Kathy with the 10. Darling with the $5. Thank you. Daniel, thank you for the 5. Jamie with the 10. Susie, thank you for the 10 as well. I really appreciate it. By the way, we can't say like specifically what they're coming from, like the C, V, or P, because TikTok apparently is restricting people today. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 1. Thank you so much. Julia with the 15. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Victoria, thank you for the 2. Can we get some W's for Victoria? Thank you. Jacob, thank you. I really appreciate the 5. Martha with the 10. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Laura, thank you so much for the 10 as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let me catch up on YouTube as well, and then we'll continue with the conversation, everybody. By the way, if you're on YouTube, make sure to follow me if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's absolutely free to do so. Like the stream if you haven't already for the almost 4,000 people in here. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Also, follow me if you haven't already. We're back on the main account today, so make sure you're following here. John, thank you for the 10. Kathleen with the 10, thank you. Nair, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. I really appreciate it. Thank you. King Ranch, thank you so much for the 20. I really appreciate it. Felonious, thank you for the 10. Marin, thank you for the 50. Get some W's from Marin in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yes, maternal mortality has significantly increased. Absolutely. Since the overturning of Roe. Fumbling, thank you so much for the 5. Anothi, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Cody with the 5. Fish, thank you for the 10. Kathleen with the 2. Mrs. B, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 5. Lynn with the 5. Marin, thank you for the 20. Thank you so much. Feisty with the 5. Kathleen with the 5. Cody with the 2. King Ranch, thank you so much for the 20. Green for Whiskey, thank you so much for the 5. Kathleen with the 10. Marin with the 20 again. And Kathleen again with the 50. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Give some W's for Kathleen in the comment section. London, thank you for the 10. Ray, thank you so much for the 2. Heather, thank you for the 5. Rachel, thank you for the 5. King, thank you so much for the 20. Chris with the 10. Sean, thank you for the 5. Kathleen with the 5. Kathleen again with the 5. Rachel, again, thank you so much. And Ray, thank you for the 2. Wells Green, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 5. Terry, Robin and Terry, thank you so much. Really appreciate the 50. Great to see. Thank you so much. Good some W's for Robin and Terry. Thank you so much for the 50. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's cool to see. Cool to see. I grew up in the QC. John, thank you for the 10 as well. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Martina, thank you for the 25. I really appreciate it as well. Thank you. All right, I am completely caught up. What were you arguing?
I think that was just about it. We were talking about Trump's stance on Tylenol, and I think that is no.
I guess
I don't agree with that in the slightest.
I guess the last question, even considering that Donald Trump's position on abortion and everything, would you vote for him if he were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman?
No.
No? Well, he was held civilly liable of sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll, forcefully penetrating her vagina against her will.
Was he ever tried for this?
Yes, he was an entire jury unanimously determined that he sexually abused Eugene Carroll in a civil court.
Okay, well, you also have to add in who I'm voting against, like who he's running against.
Okay, so given that he's running against Kamala Harris, would you vote for him if you were held civilly liable of sexual abuse?
So, my perspective, murders of millions or
well, the distinction is in millions because abortion has
over
gone up
years of time.
Abortion has gone up since Roe versus Wade was overturned, so is maternal mortality rate. So one, you'd have to take into account the change specifically in the level of abortions that occurs, which isn't something that you'd be able to qualify to the degree of millions. Secondly, it's crazy to say that you'd vote for someone held civilly liable of sexual abuse in that context. I'll ask you and see how far you'd go. If Donald Trump was held civilly liable of sexually abusing a child, would you vote for him?
That didn't happen, though.
If he were held civilly liable of sexually abusing a child, would you vote for him over Kamala Harris?
No.
Okay. So what is the relevant difference between the victim being an adult and the victim being a child? That means in one scenario you'd vote for him, but not in the other.
You come up with these hypotheticals that aren't even applicable to everyday life.
This is applicable.
He's never done that, so how is it relevant?
No, but the reason why it's applicable is because I think that when you hear that the victim is a child, you'll think it's bad enough to say that you wouldn't support him. But when the victim is a woman, for some reason, people overlook it to a greater extent. And for some reason, they don't realize how bad it is, and they're willing to vote for him, even so. So,
would you rather vote for Hitler or if Trump sexually assaulted a child and you already know what Hitler's going to do? Who would you vote for?
Obviously, in that circumstance, you wouldn't want to vote for either.
That's what you're asking me.
That's
what you're asking. No, give me an answer. You wanted an answer from me.
In that context, you wouldn't vote.
Give me an answer.
In that context, you wouldn't vote.
Exactly.
So then would you just say that you wouldn't vote? If he were held civilly liable?
I think that'd be a better stance.
Okay, so then given that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse, would you say that you wouldn't vote for him?
Over someone that is... I already gave you my opinion. I would vote for him with the allegation over someone who advocates for abortion and says that it's all okay, it's fine, just go have your abortion up to how many ever months you want.
Wait. So again, the point I was saying is that wouldn't the hypothetical you brought up would get you to not vote for either. So would you at least say that you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump then, given that he was held civilly liable of sexual abuse? It's not just an allegation. He was held civilly liable.
I'd have to see that because I haven't seen that.
Also, like 26 other women indicated that he engaged in sexual misconduct towards them. Do you think that they're all lying?
I don't know. I think a lot of people in this world will. I would listen. I'm never going to victim blame. I'm never going to say that these women are lying because I don't know. But I'm telling you that I don't think that whatever way you're trying to justify the murder of millions, yes, millions over the course of 4 years, because that's how long a president is in term, millions of lives.
No, but
I don't
you have
think
to
that's
categorize the
justifiable.
distinction. You have to categorize the distinction between Roe versus Wade being overturned and Roe versus Wade not being overturned, because all abortions don't cease to occur if Trump's in office. Right now, Trump's in
No,
office. There are more
I know
abortions
that.
now than what existed prior. Since Roe versus Wade is overturned, abortions have gone up. Maternal mortality rate has gone up. So you have to actually address that.
Where do you get that source from? Genuinely.
So
Because you wouldn't think that would happen, right? You would think the opposite would happen.
yes, I got you. I mean, you would think that, but that's not the case. So it actually, the conditions create like the situation where more people will specifically get abortions, because it is the case that they don't know whether or not they'll be able to get it in the long run. Plus, people would go to other states to be able to get access to it. But yes, I can. It's just the level of abortions that have occurred. Are you asking like? Do you want me to give you like something on 2025?
Yeah.
Or
I do have to get
what are
off
you
of here
looking for?
really, really soon though. Just any reference to the statistics you just brought up.
Yeah, I got you. I'll let Dean talk to you in a second while I pull this up.
Oh, is that Dean?
Yeah, hey, I have no context of the conversation. I just scrolled in and shot
You've
you a
missed a
text,
lot.
Parker.
I do want to thank you both. As much as the chat's going to hate this, I do genuinely thank you both for your respect towards Charlie after his death. I know you guys
Hold up.
very much so disagreed, but I appreciate the
Hold up.
respect.
Here we go.
I really do.
I have an article. U.S. abortions reach highest level in over a decade, sparked by surge in medical abortion. And that categorizes the change in abortions after the 2022 Dobbs decision.
What website is that from?
This is getting it's just from CNN reporting on it. It's just reporting on the level of abortions. I don't think that would be a.
Do you have
disputed
anything
point.
that's not from
You want me to give
CNN?
you? Yes, I'll give you a Gallup poll. Would you like that? That was just literally what was reporting on it. By the way.
Any independent midway news
You won't
channel?
accept Gallup either.
I've never heard of it. I'm not
This
sure
is
what
just
kind
on
of
the
news
level of
station that is.
abortions that have occurred.
Yeah, Gallup's reputable.
I can also go to the Guttmacher Institute.
Yeah. Oh, dude, if Gallup and Guttmacher are both reporting the same thing, then it's a fact.
Yeah, I'll take it from there. Especially, my knowledge on what news stations report what type of news is very minimal.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to the only reason I cited CNN there is because it's reported on by so many different areas, and I was just picking the first one.
No, and they're a big news site. No, I know that. So
No, I don't
probably the
typically
first
cite
one that
CNN.
came
That's
up.
not like the site that I typically like to cite. I just didn't think that would be a disputed point.
No,
It's
and
just
I
the level
think,
of abortions that occurred.
honestly, in my opinion, I don't think people should watch CNN or Fox. I think they should watch these people that report both sides of it, and they're non-biased networks.
Like,
Yeah, sure.
like me. You think people should follow me and stay up to date with the news and everything?
Dean, I was telling Parker, I watched you guys debate Charlie on Jubilee, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, I have a lot of respect for you both, even though I know we don't agree.
Very
But
interesting.
under your view,
very much
aren't we
so.
arguing for the murder of millions?
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's a good point,
Yeah.
Parker.
Yeah, like
No,
under your view,
like
we're
I said,
arguing for the
but I
murder of
also
millions.
think we don't look at it. But here's
Yeah,
the
like
thing:
listen.
we
If a
don't look at it the
Nazi,
same.
if a Nazi sat down across the table from somebody like, I don't know, just insert like random political influencer here, and they were like, well, listen, actually, like the mass genocide of Jewish individuals is justified for reasons X, Y, and Z. Like obviously, like you wouldn't walk away from that conversation saying, well, I have respect for both parties. And I'm
Well, I
assuming
don't
because
think
of
that
like
the
the
mindset
suggestion
of
that
you guys
one
versus
moment.
a Nazi is the same mindset.
Well, I'm assuming
I
the
don't like
suggestion.
I don't
If
like
you
you
could let me
guys
finish my
to
point, though, I'll be like,
categorize me as that.
uh,
So I
I,
have to interrupt you on that note.
and I'm assuming the suggestion here is that like you have already suggested in this conversation before that you think like the death of fetuses is like murder, is like incredibly wrong, just as wrong as like the death of anybody else. Like seemingly, right? You'd have like no reason to say that somebody like advocating for the pro-choice worldview would be any different. However, obviously, right, that's insane to say that being pro-choice is no different from being a Nazi, right? Which kind of like intuitionally proves here that even you know that it's not truly murder to kill a fetus.
I truly believe that it is, but I believe that your mindset, as well as Parker's and most of the people in the chat, you don't believe that that's what it is. That's just my stance. And I feel you guys are going
I
to laugh
actually
at me.
gave
I
her
feel
this reductio earlier, Dean. I asked if she would hold Nazis accountable after the crimes because she said that that like people who are killing like lots of zygotes and embryos through IVF to the degree of millions, like over years, like that they shouldn't be held accountable for war crimes or crimes against humanity because they've been propagandized to believe that they're not as human.
Oh, yeah,
No, I
what'd she
didn't say
say?
that about the Nazis. I did not say that they shouldn't be held accountable.
No, no, no. I said that you said the IVF people who work at IVF clinics.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Listen, Dean, you joined at the worst time because I would love to stay, especially since you joined. But I do have a request for both of you. If you could go and reach out to, as far as debating people, Kristen Hawkins on abortion and Candace Owens on everything else.
I would debate Candace Owens.
I would love that so much. So if you guys can make that happen, I would love it. So,
All right.
but
For sure.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate the conversation. I hope you guys both have a good rest of your night.
Alrighty. For sure. For sure. Alrighty. Let's go on to the next individual real quick. Dean, how's your night been, man?
Dude, it has been so good. As soon as I ended my stream, my mom texted me and she was like, I cooked you dinner. I'd love to come give it to you. And she's like a great chef. So she gave me this whole big thing of like great chicken gnocchi soup. And I went and bought us like a good bottle of wine and now I'm still sipping on it. So my night's been great, really calmed down greatly, very bigly after 4 hours of like the most insane debates ever. The people I had on today were just like a different breed, Parker. They were nuts.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that. That's actually brutal. I feel like, well, actually, I just talked to them for like a really long time, to be totally honest. So I think I've only talked to like a few people today. I don't think I've talked to that many. I'm curious how long that last conversation was because I think it was like very, very long.